My name is Kattaboyina Anusha. So, working as assistant professor in Mlritm. Today, I want to discuss machine learning. So, these all are the course objectives and course outcomes. So, today we have to discuss about machine learning. So, in this machine learning, the best one textbook is Tom Meisel. And what is meant by machine learning? So, how to define machine learning? So, usually a computer is said to learn from experience E with respect to some class of task T and performance measures P if its performance at a task in T as measured P improves with experience E. So, overall, we have to use E, T, and P. What is E? What is T? What is P? E in the sense experience, T in the sense task, P in the sense performance. So, task means problem. If you are facing any problem, that is considered as the task. How to solve that task? So, while we are solving the task, we are getting some experience, that is E. If you are facing one problem, in that problem considered as the task. So suppose we are taking the chess is the one example. So chess is the one problem. So how to solve problem means, so opposite person is there. How to win that opponent person. So while we are performing opponent person, we are getting some experience in the sense how to move, so either left side or right side, so how to move, so based on the so that problem. So that is meant by machine learning in the sense, so learn from the experience E with respect to some class of task T and performance measures P if the performance task is T. This is meant by machine learning. And why we have to use the machine learning? So generally algorithms is there. In that machine learning is also we can use the algorithms. So that in that algorithms we are using here, first one is the general one and second one is the machine learning. So data as the input. If your algorithm means a step by step procedure is there, so we have to give the input, and after to whom do you give the input? So computer. Then after write a program, then after we will get the output. So same like that here also machine learning is also same way only, but in this machine learning we can use data means a data set. In that data set means feeding the data, we have to actuate the data, and some previous examples also we can take. That one we have to give to the computer, then we will get here output. That output considered either models or otherwise either program. Okay, this is called machine learning. So the difference between general and machine learning, here also we can use algorithms only. Machine learning is also used algorithms only. And how machine learning works? How machine learning works means we have to give here new input to the algorithm. Then automatically predictions in the sense if any error is there or not. So if an error is there means again we will go back and we can rectify the errors, and then we'll go to the model. We'll get the actual output. So that is the one way. And next way is go for the training data. So we will give mission to the training data, then after train the ML, training the algorithm, then after we will get that is the input. That input is give to the algorithm. Again same procedure in the sense we will go for the predictions, then after successfully we will get the output. This is a machine learning works. And next, types of machine learning. So how many types of machine learnings is there? We have totally 3 types of machine learnings. The first one is supervised, the second one is unsupervised, and the third one is reinforcement. So what is meant by supervised, what is meant by unsupervised, and what is meant by reinforcement, and in that how many examples are there? So first one is go for the supervised learning. In that supervised learning, we will discuss regressions. In that regression also, linear and polynomial is there. And after that, decision tree. And next one is the random forest. Next one is the classification. So, supervised learning, we discussed mainly two only. This is the number of algorithms is there. Only we discussed two. That is regression and classification. What is meant by classification? So the data is there. The data is a classify, means a dividing. So how to divide the data? That data we will give to the mission. So in that classification, these all are the types. So these all are the KNN. What is the KNN in the sense? K nearest neighbors. And next one is the trees. Either you can take the decision trees. And logistic regression, navy bias, SVM. SVM in the sense, so sector vector mission. Oh, this is called classification. And regression. Regression in the sense, in that regression, linear and polynomial is there. Why we have to use the supervised, why we have to use the unsupervised, so we will discuss. And next, unsupervised means we can go for the clustering, and next one is the association analysis. So in this clustering, SVD, PCA, K means this is only algorithms we learn in the unsupervised learning. And next one is, so what I said, what is the supervised learning? So why we have to use the supervised learning, and advantages of supervised learning and disadvantages of supervised learning. So supervised learning means, so supervised learning is a method inputting the label data. What is meant by label data? So if you design a one program, so you can give the input. Where we have to give the input? So if it is, so your name, one label is there, means a label means here name. Name in the sense, so you can write name, father name. So this is all called a label data. Okay, label data means you have to give input to the mission. That is called supervised learning. And this model trains known input. So known input means already we know the input and output data, so that it can predict future output accordingly. So we have to give the input. That input is also known input only. Okay. And next one is to prepare your data to improve quality, fill the gaps, and optimize the for training. Optimizing training is nothing but we have to give the input, means that proper input we have to give. Then only we will get the output. This is called supervised learning. And while we are using supervised learning, we will get some advantages and some disadvantages also there. So what are the advantages means, the information in supervised learning is very notable and is marked. So the calculation to recognize various classes where you can define is the ideal choice limit. So where we can use, that is our choice only. So what is a supervised learning? Simply we can say label data. Label data means already we know the input. So then only we can give our choice where it is the gap is there, that we can use that data. You can decide the number of classes you need to have. So number of classes you can include in this supervised learning. And next one is the responses in the examination and the result of calculation are probably going to be known because the relative multiple classes utilized in a unknown. So relative multitude classes in the sense, if you are define the three classes, in that three classes individually you can define and individually will get the output. That is the advantages of supervised learning. And next one is, if the advantages is there means some disadvantages is also there. What are the disadvantages of machine learning? Supervised machine learning can be complicated strategy in the examination with solo techniques. So solo technique in the sense, individually where the gaps is there, that only we can fill now. So that is called complicated strategy, means it will take the more time. So that is the one disadvantage, and it requires tons of calculation and time for the preparing. Time for the preparing in the sense, so calculation part is more while we are taking data set. So D1 to D14 we are taking, D14, D1, D2, D3. So data sets we are taking. Data sets in the sense, so up to number of data sets we are taking up to D14 is there. So each and every data set we have to analyze and calculate. So how much time it will take? So lot of time it will take, that lot of time. That's why So that is a one disadvantage. Calculation time for the preparing is a one disadvantage. It will take more time to solve the one problem is more time. Assuming you have dynamic, large and developing information. So large and developing information in the sense we have to define any data set. In that data set, so individually we can take and solve, individually we can take and develop. At that time also we can take more time and we are not getting the accurate output. This is a disadvantage. And what is unsupervised data? What is unsupervised data means? So before that, supervised means labeled data, unsupervised data means so unlabeled data. Unsupervised learning is a method of unlabeling data. This is the main difference. Supervised means labeled data, unsupervised means unlabeled data into a machine learning model. So in this one, we don't know how direct of the models. So previous supervised means models is there. We can classify, we can regress, then we can solve. But here we don't have any direct models. So here we can use before only. We can detecting purpose, we can use the unsupervised learning. So in this unsupervised learning also some advantages is there, some disadvantages is there. Advantages in the sense less intensity and correlation with the administrating learning. Administrating learning in the sense so easily so we can find where it is mistake. So easy it is frequently simpler to get unlabeled information. Easily we can get the unlabeled data where it is. So that is the advantages. And disadvantages means so unmistakable with the recordable meaning of the information arranging and get the results. Easily we can't get the result. So because here unlabeled data is not there. Unknown data means where we have to give. So we don't know which data we can consider as the input. So that is the main problem. Unknown data means so which data we can consider. Okay. And next, less acceptance of outcomes. And next, it prompts the powerfulness discover outcomes created by the examination. Unknown data means how we can get the output. That is the main disadvantage. So what is the difference between supervised and unsupervised learning? So first one is the input data. How we are giving the input to the labeled data and unlabeled data. So supervised, we know already we discussed supervised learning and unsupervised learning. So supervised means labeled data, that is the labeled data, and unsupervised means unlabeled data. And feedback mechanism means supervised means it is available and unsupervised means it is not unavailable. So feedback mechanism means so we are getting the output, whether that getting output is correct or not. If the actual output and target output it is not equal, then so how to get, then only we'll go for the back propagation algorithms. Means classification is very easy compared to the unsupervised learning. And data classification done based on the training data set. Training data set means whatever we are taking the input, that is called training set. Here assign the properties of the given data set for classification. Whatever they can mention, that only we have to classify. But supervised means already training data is there, that training data we can use and we can classify. But unsupervised means we cannot classify. And types means supervised means regression and classification. And here clustering and association. And usage for predictions. Supervised means for predictions. For predictions means whether the output is correct or not. We can find. So here analysis. Analysis means so we don't need to go for the output. So before that only whether that is correct or not we can analyze. And next one is the algorithms. Which algorithms is used for the supervised learning? So decision tree, so support vector mission, logistic regressions. And next one is unsupervised learning. So which algorithms we can use? Hierarchical cluster, k-means clustering, so appropriate algorithm. And classes. So classes point of view, supervised learning, no number of classes we can take. But unsupervised learning, we don't know that number of classes. That purpose we can use the unknown number of classes. So then after go for the applications. So applications of machine learning where we can use the machine learning. Where we can use the machine learning means, so nowadays we have to use the self-driving cars. Self-driving cars and email spam detecting point of view we can use, and medical treatment we can use, and automatic language translation. Language translation in the sense, so test, we are getting image to the test, then automatically image recognition, face recognition, and speech recognition. So we are giving the speech, then automatically it will convert to the test. And the traffic predictions and market point of view, stock market point of view also we can use the machine learning only. And main thing is here machine learning is used for the online fraud detection. So whatever algorithm is there, by using that algorithm we have to find fraud detection algorithms. And automatic language translation in the sense, so language point of view, if person knows the Telugu language, he don't know Hindi, then automatically so translate to the Telugu to Hindi, then easily we will get. And next Google Assistant also. Google Assistants in the sense, so iPhone we are using in the sense Siri. Siri set the time means automatically it set the time. And one more thing is, now we can use Alexa. So Alexa is also we can use for, you want to play one song in a sense, Alexa play that particular song. These all are the so mission translation. Thank you.